Backup accident from a driver who's been there, and a one-year-old boy in critical condition after falling into a bucket of bleach. 11 nonstop minutes start now.
Now, 11 non-stop minutes of news.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Rod Wood. A one-year-old boy is in very critical condition tonight after nearly drowning in a bucket filled with cleaning solution. The baby fell into the bucket this evening and may have been in there for 10 minutes. Our Shelby Stafford is live at University Hospital, where the baby is being monitored in intensive care. Shelby.
Rod, the baby fell in a bucket similar to this one. Police say it was big enough to be a trash can underneath your desk at work. It was filled with a combination of bleach and water. When the baby was found, he was rushed here to University Hospital. His heart was not beating when he arrived here at the emergency room. Police are calling this a tragic accident. It happened inside this apartment complex on West Castle Street. The baby's 17-year-old mother asked her mom to babysit. Police say grandma was busy cleaning and asked her 11-year-old daughter to watch the boy. Sometime after that, the baby wandered near the bucket and fell in.
It only takes that much for something like this to happen. I'm also told that it was a very strong concentration of bleach and water, so there is a possibility that the child, may have been playing with it, very strong fumes. Maybe that child passed out and then fell into the bucket.
Police hope that other people learn from what happened tonight to this little boy. They say that he may have been unattended for as long as 10 minutes. So far, nobody has been cited, not the mother, the grandmother, or the 11-year-old aunt. Reporting live at University Hospital, Shelby Stafford, News Channel 9.
Shelby, thanks. It is probably the first thing you'll do as you leave home tomorrow morning, backing out of your garage or your driveway. But how carefully did you check the mirrors to see what was behind you? Tonight, Carrie Lazarus with the story of a manliest mother who started her day doing just that 5 years ago.
Can you go get me some more?
Annette Musa wasn't sure she'd ever know joy like this again. That's because Julia and Sophia will never know their brother Max. In the summer of 2000, Annette was backing out of the driveway. She thought 4-year-old Max was in the house.
He was behind the car and the tire went up over his head.
Max died 3 days before his 5th birthday.
I'm going to get Mom.
Annette now has a car with a backup sensor, but she doesn't really trust it, so she never backs out of the garage.
And I back it in so that I know every time I come out, I'm coming out forward, I can at least see, down the nose of my car.
Right. And that's been ever since Max.
As much as you can stick to a rule like that, yes.
Yeah.
Annette thinks backup cameras should be standard equipment on every car. But even that, she says, wouldn't be foolproof.
That danger will always be there. There's nothing really anybody can do much about it.
Right.
Except educate everybody.
Right. You can't change the world because something like this happened.
No, but you want to.
Yeah, right.
You wish you could.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you may not even realize how much you're missing when you back up. Every vehicle has blind spots, some much worse than others. Our Michael Riecke put a typical SUV to the test today. The results surprised and frightened parents. He joins us live with more on the story tonight. Michael.
Well, Rod, when most people go to back out of their driveway, they'll check their side mirror, they'll check their rear view mirror, and hopefully they look over their shoulder. We asked one mom to do just that in her SUV, and with help from Janesville DeWitt Little League's T-ball teams, we found out what some drivers are missing when they put their car in reverse. Christina Ferlinda hopped in the driver's seat of her Dodge Durango, and we proceeded to line up the kids between the back wheel and the license plate. Number 2, come on! Christina struggled to see around her headrest as an entire T-ball team stood in place.
Our mirrors are a little bit bigger because of the tow package, but I still can't see them. Can't see anything. I can see the lady with the blue jacket and the purse, that's it.
We've lined up all the kids, and it took almost 27 feet before Christina could see any of them in either her side or rear view mirror. Parents watching our test were surprised.
I figured it'd be like 8 to 10 feet back, not 27. So that really scary.
27 feet and 20 kids.
20 of them?
I was very surprised. I was very, very surprised. I mean, that was a lot of children.
We asked the kids to move to the center of the SUV, taking the headrest out of the equation.
I see one little kid that's not in line with a red hat on. with glasses on.
That child was in line. And once again, look at all the kids Christina couldn't see, including her 2 daughters at the end. Christina gave it another shot, this time standing slightly and looking over her shoulder.
I can probably see maybe 10 of them now, maybe 11.
Still missing an entire team of 9, Christina says she will continue to remind her daughters not to linger behind any vehicle from any distance.
We are very careful, going through parking lots, you know, leaving the grocery store, making sure that they know that people can't see them.
Right.
But I didn't think it was that bad. I will be much more careful when I'm backing out of anywhere.
There is technology available that will act as an extra set of eyes when you're backing up. First, a reverse sensor. It sends out waves that detect objects. A buzzer or siren goes off as you get closer. Prices for a reverse sensor start around $90. Now, rear-mounted cameras are also becoming more popular. That way the driver can see on a monitor what is directly behind them. Those sort of systems start at around $100. Again, some luxury SUVs already come equipped with them. On other vehicles, they're optional, or you could pick one up at most auto parts store. Now, the cheapest and most reliable way to make sure no one is behind your car, the experts say, simply walk around it. Check behind, make sure there are no objects or especially children behind your vehicle, especially if it's a large SUV, truck, or minivan. Rod?
Michael, thank you. Good information tonight. Consumer Reports, incidentally, recently measured blind spots of all kinds of vehicles to see where your car ranks. Log on to our website for that information at 9WSYR.com and click on links. She is charged with 154 counts of animal cruelty after the SPCA rescued that many cats from her home back in January. And new at 11, Shirley Thompson had a chance to answer to those charges tonight in the town of DeWitt Court. Thompson says she's just an animal lover who did the right thing by calling the SPCA when the bank foreclosed on her home and the cats had nowhere to go.
My heart's broke. You know, I loved all them animals. I did the best I could. You know, I just can't see an animal on the street.
Now, Thompson told us she can't afford to hire a lawyer, so she'll have to go to trial. If she's found guilty of animal cruelty, she could spend time in jail. That trial is set to begin in August. Well, usually police and firefighters work together, but tonight they played against each other in a game of basketball. That game was played in memory of Trooper Craig Tadashini, who died in a car crash last month. His pregnant wife, Christy, was there rooting on both teams. All the money raised will go to the Tadashini Memorial Fund. The organizer of the event says firefighters and police are all part of one big family, so it's not unusual for them to get together for a good cause.
You know, you work with these people day in, day out, and even in the volunteer service, you see these people all the time, and it's just great. I mean, there's not anybody will do anything for anyone.
We want to tell you both teams tied with 99 points each. They ended up raising close to $3,000 for the Tadashini Memorial Fund. New at 11, a Catholic priest who was once pastor of a church in Auburn has been arrested for sexually abusing a 12-year-old girl in the Rochester suburb of Gates. Reverend John Steger, who is 80 years old, is alleged to have inappropriately touched the girl while she performed cleaning duties at St. John the Apostle Church in Gates. The Rochester Diocese says the priest has been placed on leave pending the outcome of the case. At one time, Reverend Steger served at St. Alphonsus Church in Auburn. U.S. Attorney General Alberto Gonzales is launching a nationwide program called Project Safe Childhood. The program is designed to coordinate local, state, and federal efforts to investigate and prosecute sexual predators who target children. Gonzales toured the Department of Justice Computer Center in Maryland, where agents track online predators. The clergymen and women of Syracuse are teaming with the police and the district attorney to get illegal guns off the streets. Anybody who turns in an illegal handgun that works into police or has information leading to the recovery of a gun will receive $200. You can drop them off at the Syracuse Public Safety Building the next 2 Wednesdays. One of the ways to turn in the gun is simply by walking into the Public Safety Building with the gun unloaded and in a safe container, no questions asked. The promise you will not be prosecuted for having it.
Well, the purpose of this isn't necessarily to make arrests. The purpose of this, in fact, is to grab these handguns, illegal handguns, and take them off the street.
And we're not interested in your grandfather's Civil War memento or your you know, your dad's World War II rifle that he brought back, or some piece of junk that you found a few months ago.
Coming up later, our Allison Meager asks if the people who commit gun crimes will really turn over their weapons. And Syracuse police say the man found dead inside the stairwell in this downtown apartment building had his body dragged there by a man who just didn't want it in his apartment. Police say the tenant was an acquaintance of 48-year-old Lawrence Robinson and came home to find Robinson dead of natural causes. Instead of calling the police, Mark Hart just dragged the body out to be found by someone else. No charges have yet been filed. In Oswego, the man who murdered an Iraq war veteran last year has pleaded guilty now. The confessed killer is Paul Leary, who stabbed Joseph Godfrey Jr. to death along the Oswego River late one night in January of 2005. Leary stole $60, some cigarettes, and a lighter after severing Godfrey's spinal cord with his knife. After his arrest, Leary told police he wasn't supposed to die. For pleading guilty, the killer gets a sentence of 17 years to life in state prison. The city of Syracuse and the unions that represent its workers are at odds tonight over drug testing. The issue is raised by the case of a DPW worker charged with possessing drugs on the job. No one knows whether 43-year-old Jeffrey Lopes was under influence during working hours. Most city employees are not drug tested.
We would have to negotiate a drug and alcohol testing program for any other employees. We have in the past made some attempts with our unions to put some things in place. We just have not been successful.
Now, the city personnel director says the unions are asking for higher wages before they'll agree to drug testing. But union leaders say their members are not mandated by federal law to take drug tests, and so they won't. New tonight, 3 bills to combat the growing problem of identity theft now await Governor Pataki's approval. The state Senate okayed the measures today. It would give private companies and state attorney general the right to bring phishing scam artists to civil court, allow people to block access to credit reports, preventing identity thieves from taking out new loans, and would set regulations for how personal information is thrown out. The legislation still needs Governor Pataki's signature before it becomes law. Well, a fairly nice day today, but will storms return? Here's Dave Eichorn.
Rob, we think they will, especially later in the day tomorrow. There is some weather moving across the northern part of New York State right now. The southern extent of this could very well clip portions of Oswego and Oneida counties as it drops southeast through the Adirondacks tonight, but that should be gone by sunrise. So when you wake up tomorrow morning, by 7 o'clock in the morning, a mix of sun and clouds. We should be around 52 degrees, 55 by 8, and very close to 60 by 9 in the morning. We think we got a good stab at 70 or awfully close to that tomorrow, and that should be enough to trigger some thunderstorms tomorrow afternoon. Coming up in just a bit, we'll tell you how strong we think those storms will be.
Coming up in sports, it's on to the Division III National Semifinals for the Cortland men's lacrosse team, plus another close one at Yankee Stadium. Hank Blaylock looking for some ninth-inning magic of his own after the Bombers beat him with a walk-off homer last night. Blaylock's fly ball goes just foul, and as a result, New York goes on to win another one-run game as Mariano Rivera comes on to close it out. Those highlights and more on the way in a little bit.
Also ahead tonight, more on new efforts to get rid of handguns from Syracuse City streets, but will the people who use them most choose to turn in their weapons? But next, a Navy relic is blown up on the water in hopes of bringing tourists to check out its final destination.
From the station that is breaking news, you're watching News Channel 9, 11 at 11.
Who says men aren't looking for a long-term relationship? The dependable, long-lasting Chevy Silverado with 2 tons of towing capacity and the power of a Vortec engine. Looks like this will be the start of a great relationship.
Qualified lessees can get a low-mileage lease on this 06 Silverado half-ton for around $219 a month. Residency restrictions apply. Call for details.
Silverado from Chevy, America's #1 brand, America's #1 value.
Log on to clickonchevy.com.
Have some fun for summer grilling. Price Choppers #1. Shrimp, scallops, salmon, clams. Getting hungry? I know I am. Grilling tips, recipes too. At Price Choppers, the house of barbecue. Not cooking tonight, we're grilling tonight. From Price Choppers, house of barbecue.
Hi, Rick Gary for Nextel. Love my Nextel phone. It keeps me connected to the world by the internet, by, of course, just regular cell dialing. And also, of course, the best feature, I always like this, is I like the walkie-talkie. No matter where you go, you can use it all around the world. It's a wonderful thing. It does everything. The only thing it doesn't do is Windows, but then you could call somebody to do it.
Sign up with Nextel now and get a free i710. Call 877-97-NEXTEL to shop or find a store. Plans start at just $29.99 a month. Call 877-97-NEXTEL now.
Actions speak louder than words. 2006 Ford Escape. Go farther than ever before with a secure, confident ride. This is the one compact SUV that lets nothing hold it back. Find your direction in an Escape with 0 first month's payment, 0 security deposit, and 0 money down. All for just $319 a month. Come on, baby, let's go.
This portion of News Channel 9 is sponsored by Drivers Village.
The forecast where you live from the News Channel 9 Storm Team.
On the news earlier this evening, we talked about some thunderstorms that were near Toronto. They fell apart as they dropped southeast across Lake Ontario, but the system that caused those flared some new activity up to our north, and here's where it is on Live Doppler 9 right now. This is tracking to the east-southeast, and I don't think is going to be an issue for the Syracuse area overnight. I guess the only thing I'm a little bit concerned about, and it's only a little bit, is sometimes these things create what's known as outflow boundaries. They're little areas of rain-cooled air that spread out from them, and they act like weak little cold fronts that sometimes trigger their own little showers. So I suppose that during the night tonight, 1 or 2 of those could develop and move through, but that should just about do it. All right, the numbers for today: 64 over 52, 12/100ths of an inch of rain. Our current temperature is now 57. The humidity high at 83%, barometer falling, and that's getting down there. The wind out of the southwest at about 6 miles per hour. Satellite view shows not only the weather that was over us today, but look what's coming up. There's a strong disturbance. This is new, dropping southward across Michigan right now. You can see the clouds actually wrapping around the storm center, now located over the western part of Michigan. Winds in the upper atmosphere straight out of the west-northwest, and so this thing is just plowing south and east, and we think it will move through New York State during the day tomorrow. It's possible this could come out at us in 2 pieces, with one little chunk moving across the northern Finger Lakes. I'll say maybe early tomorrow afternoon. And then the main thing back in here, this is what we're going to be watching during the day tomorrow. As this pivots around and then starts to come up at us from the southwest, we should see some thunderstorms approaching us from the west later in the day tomorrow. And incidentally, if we get some breaks in the clouds tomorrow, reasonable amount of sun, and we do hit that 70 degrees that we're thinking is a very good bet, that should be warm enough in the atmosphere to help strengthen those storms a little bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if we have some gusty winds and even some hail with some of those storms later in the day. All right, 8 o'clock in the morning, again, our radar forecast where you live, doing a great job in depicting that stuff over the northern part of New York State, but pretty quiet around here. However, as we move this up through the noon hour, well, again, some scattered hit and miss showers around central New York, but the main activity starting to form out over the western part of the state. And again, this is around 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Moving this up to dinner time, again, keeping an eye on that thing approaching from the western part of New York State. Showers and storms should either be entering or in the Finger Lakes during the afternoon. And again, that's when, of course, the daytime temperatures are warmest, so that's probably when they're going to be at their strongest. And then carrying this through the rest of the evening, this should continue to work its way north and east. So I would envision a fairly well, certainly unsettled, if not stormy, period tomorrow evening. If you've got any plans for outdoor games, yard work, or maybe going out tomorrow evening, I think an umbrella or some sort of avoidance of rain should be in the back of your mind. All right, here's your forecast for tonight. I think just partly cloudy skies with a low tonight near 50 degrees, naturally cooler in some rural areas. Tomorrow, clouds and sun in the morning, and then tomorrow afternoon, some thunderstorms around with a high temperature tomorrow of around 70, maybe 71 degrees. Perhaps a leftover shower tomorrow night with a low of 47. And then following this weather system moving through here tomorrow, the 70s give way to 50s. And once we get into this 50-degree territory, we're likely to stay that way for, maybe 3 or 4 days, temporarily hitting 60 on Sunday, but cooling back down Monday, and then warming up and quite a bit more humid by Tuesday or Wednesday next week.
Well, America's top TV show is coming down to the final weeks, and tonight another singer on American Idol was told he would not be moving on. Nearly 1/3 of the 50 million people who cast their votes voted for Eliot. Eliot lost by an extremely close margin, just 0.2%. Now, that's not a huge shock since he's been considered an underdog all along. The new American Idol will be crowned next week. Coming up in sports tonight, another local lacrosse team inches closer to a national title. Steve Infanti with that story. But next up, will people turn in their weapons? Why some who live in high crime areas say the city's intentions may be well placed, but the program won't be a hit with those packing heat.
Get me closer, man. I smell a Henny. I knew it! The new Ram 1500 with a new front end, new suspension, new frame. It's got a Hemi, all right, and that MDS to save you gas. A new interior. Woo! That can't be good.
This May, get 0% financing for 60 months or $4,500 cash allowance on Dodge Ram 1500.
What I'm most proud of as Attorney General is that we were willing to walk into the buzzsaw of some very powerful interests and never back down. Look, I had a simple rule. I never asked if a case was popular or unpopular. Never asked if it was big or small, hard or easy. I simply asked if it was right or wrong. In the end, it's not a bad rule.
Spitzer for governor.
What the Sam Dell is going on? According to Sam Dell, when we say we'll sell 40 pre-owned vehicles for under $99.90, we mean it! We have over 200 certified brand spanking used vehicles to choose from. All with an 8-year, 80,000-mile warranty and as low as 4.9% APR financing. Plus, if we make a deal by Monday, we'll pay off your trade no matter how much you owe. Rush to Sam Dell Dodge Used Car and Truck Super Savings Center and get one down of a deal.
This is a good blue for me.
It is.
But I look better in black.
Can we see the black, please? Should I bring the car around, madam? Yeah. Where do you keep the private jets?
Over by the helicopters.
$1 can go a long way. New York's Mega Millions and Lotto. Hey, you never know.
Does anyone know what these are? They're Kraft American Singles. They have double the calcium of many other American spices. That's for strong bones. Any questions?
With double the calcium plus vitamin D, Kraft Singles are good food to grow up on.
When you engineer SUVs to the highest standard, the professional-grade possibilities are limitless. The GMC Envoy delivers more towing capacity than Jeep. The highest possible side impact safety rating, all for less than Jeep Grand Cherokee. Get an 06 Envoy SLE for just $27,490 after all offers. Through May 27th, visit your Syracuse area GMC dealer for a chance to win a select GM vehicle during the License to Win event.
This portion of News Channel 9 is sponsored by Nextel.
From WSYR TV, this is News Channel 9.
An old aircraft carrier off the shore of Pensacola, Florida, is now rotting on the ocean floor. The USS Oriskany was sunk today to begin a new tour of duty as the world's largest intentionally created reef. Local leaders hope the carrier reef will bring a long-awaited economic infusion from sport divers. It is called gun amnesty, and starting next Wednesday, illegal working handguns not used in a crime will earn you about $200. But Allison Meeker says it's not a plan that makes everyone want to cooperate.
24-year-old Chris Sanders says he's been in jail 3 times, never for gun possession, but he says he knows people who carry them.
The police, they're here to help you, but the young people, we don't really see it like that. Like, the police here to help us, so we're trying to the gun, and all we know how to do is shoot.
This man who lives on the south side says a $200 payout won't make a difference.
Oh, you think them kids gonna turn in a gun when they done did this to the other kids' gang? No, they're not gonna turn in no guns.
Even if it has money involved?
Even if it have money involved. You don't care about that money. They make money.
And when we told Jewett Reed and her brother about the promise from the police and the district attorney that if you turn a gun in, you won't be prosecuted for possessing it.
That sounds like a setup. And that's gonna make it even worse for them to turn them in. Thinking that they bring a legal gun and then all of a sudden they're going to jail because they brought a gun in. It sounds like a setup.
And several people we talked to say it doesn't matter because when they turn in one, they'll just go buy another.
Who's going to turn in their own family for a gun when they might need that same gun to protect their family?
Regardless of if they turn them in or not, they're not going to get them off. And it's not going to stop no violence because these people are crazy.
Now, the Syracuse Police Chief and the DA say the goal is to simply give people another means of turning guns in before the summertime starts. Right now, a look at tonight's winning New York lottery numbers. The daily number 647, the win 4 combination 4135. And the take 5 numbers are 3, 8, 12, 28, and 39. In the lotto game, 2, 4, 16, 18, 47, and 49, the bonus number 32.
It's time for Fox Dealership's used car extravaganza with all Fox inventory in one giant location. Fox Chrysler Dodge Jeep Grand Avenue, Route 5 in Auburn, only 20 minutes from Syracuse. Choose from the giant inventory of Hondas, Toyotas, Subarus, Chryslers, Dodge, and Jeeps, all right for you and your budget. And in one giant location, Chrysler Dodge Jeep, Route 5 Grand Avenue in Auburn. Register at the tent and receive a gas certificate. Bring your trade, payment book, and title and choose a payment that's right for you. Hurry, we're only under the tent this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday from 9 to 9 at the Fox Dealership's used car extravaganza.
Jimmy's got his finger on the pulse of politics.
2 new polls have George Bush rated pretty much as low as you can go without getting caught in a porta-john with George Michael.
Tonight from Lost, Malcolm David Kelly, plus Drew Carey on an all-new Jimmy Kimmel Live, late night, only on ABC.
The once-in-a-lifetime launch spectacular. Come check out 4 all-new Toyotas. We're making room for these new models, so great deals are going on now. Right now, lease Corolla for just $159 a month. With variable valve timing, Corolla gets great performance and great gas mileage, up to 41 miles per gallon. Or lease the equally fuel-efficient RAV4 for just $239 a month and get up to 30 miles per gallon. Hurry, it all ends soon. It's time to move forward.
Where's the nearest exit to retirement?
What?
With a confident view of the future.
Reaching financial destinations takes more than aspiration.
Oh, and some golf courses.
It takes preparation and the inspiration of knowing someone's on your side. Through financial planning, online banking, loans, and more, KeyBank helps find the simplest routes to your goals and the most realistic ones.
Here's something for getting us there early.
Key, achieve anything.
Every time you look in the mirror, every time you put it on, you will remember it was the perfect shopping day. 100 fabulous outlet stores. Savings of 25 to 65% every day. Waterloo Premium Outlets off the New York State Thruway between exits 41 and 42. It's outlet shopping evolved.
Your first impression of the Bill Rapp Subaru Superstore is our state-of-the-art facility. Your lasting impression will be of the people you meet. People who will always treat you with courtesy and respect. People with the knowledge to help you choose the Subaru that's right for you. People who will listen to your concerns. People who will offer you the best prices every day. Lease the 06 Forester AWD just $229 a month.
You'll see these good people in these great cars. Only at the Bill Rapp Subaru Superstore.
This portion of News Channel 9 is sponsored by Liverpool Pool and Spa.
In sports tonight, the Yanks win another one-run game against the Rangers. Same end result, but 2 very different ways of getting there. One night after watching the Bombers win a dramatic 14-13 shootout with Texas, you just knew this was going to be a pitcher's duel, right? And that's the beauty of baseball. The 2 teams combining for 20 less runs than they scored yesterday. Jorge Posada getting a much-deserved standing ovation for his heroic homer last night. Posada then responds by coming through again, singling home Derek Jeter in the first. Georgie with 2 more hits tonight and 2 RBIs. Chin-Ming Wong, meanwhile, pitched well for most of the game, inducing the double play right here. He allowed 2 earned runs in 8 innings, but he does make a mistake in the 8th, giving up a 2-run shot to Gary Matthews Jr. that pulls the Rangers to within a run at 4-3. But Mariano Rivera comes on to close it out, getting Kevin Mensch to pop out to short to end it. The Yanks win 4-3. They pull back into a first-place tie with Boston. Well, maybe by the time these 2 teams meet again in July, Roger Clemens will be part of the series. The Yanks and Rangers are among a list of 4 teams trying to woo the Rocket back from retirement. Today, his agent said Clemens has stepped up his workouts and should have a decision within the next 3 weeks. He comes at a price, though. The Rocket, if he does return, is expected to get between $3 and $4 million per month for the rest of the season. Well, Barry Bonds was given a day of rest after playing in 8 consecutive games, so he's still stuck on 7-13. Bonds hasn't homered since back on May 7th. Elsewhere in the National League, the Mets looking to make it 2 straight wins in St. Louis, but they can't get it done. Bottom of the 6th, Scott Rowland drives one to the wall in left center field. Albert Pujols comes around all the way from first to score. It was the only run allowed by Steve Traxel, but it does stand up. The Mets load the bases with 1 out in the 9th. Jason Isringhausen, though, gets out of it. Cliff Floyd grounds out to end it. The Mets fall in St. Louis 1-0. In the minors, Sky Chiefs stay out of last place, at least for another night. Their game with Ottawa suspended in the 2nd inning. Syracuse led 3-0. They'll finish it up tomorrow morning, then take about a half-hour break before playing a 7-inning game to complete the doubleheader. Well, the Cortland men's lacrosse team punched its ticket to the national semifinals this afternoon with a 12-8 victory over Middlebury. Nottingham's Matt Abbott, had 3 goals, 1 assist for the Red Dragons, and they don't have to go so far for the semis. In fact, they don't have to go anywhere. The Dragons will play host to Wesleyan University sometime Sunday afternoon. So Cortland and Lemoyne both get a home game for the right to play in Philly Memorial Day weekend, a luxury the SU lacrosse team does not enjoy. The Orange return to the practice field this afternoon. They travel down to Long Island on Saturday to face the defending national champs from Johns Hopkins. Remember, the Blue Jays beat Syracuse rather handily back in March, but Coach Desko says don't put too much stock into that first meeting.
Well, I think it's going to be 2 teams that know each other pretty well, and they know themselves a lot better than they did early in the year. I think both teams had some injuries or adjusting with new players to the system, and both teams have gotten comfortable as the year has gone on, and so I think you're going to see a very good lacrosse game on Saturday.
SU and Johns Hopkins will face off in the second game at Stony Brook on Saturday, right around 3 o'clock. Finally, to the NBA playoffs, LeBron James looking to lead his Cavaliers to a victory in critical Game 5 with Detroit, and he does just that. First quarter, Pistons turn it over. Cavs in transition. Look at LeBron finishing with the big-time jam. Cavs up 1. LeBron leads all scores with 32 points, tied at 84. Now late in the 4th, LeBron to Drew Gooden down low. Cavs go up 2. Last chance for the Pistons. Richard Hamilton loses the ball. Cavs shock the Pistons 86-84. They take a 3-2 series lead.
We never wanted to see it end like that, certainly. All right, that's our report tonight. Nightline's next. If you're up early, don't forget the morning news beginning at 5 o'clock. Thanks for joining us, and good night, everyone.
You're watching News Channel 9 WSYR, Clear Channel Television for Central New York.
When it comes to fuel efficiency, you may think you know Chevy.
But here are some things you may not know.
9 out of 10 cars Chevy sells get an EPA estimated 30 highway miles to the gallon or better.
Like Chevy Cobalt, which gets an EPA estimated 34 highway miles per gallon.
Qualified lessees can get an 06 Cobalt LS Coupe for around $159 a month. Residency restrictions apply. Call for details.
Chevy, America's #1 brand, America's #1 value.
Log on to clickonchevy.com today.
With Goldberg's Custom Comfort Center, you can choose from thousands of fabrics